Okay, so you're ready to step up your gate security game.
A mission we fully endorse.
Definitely. But finding a smart lock that can actually handle the Aussie weather, that's a challenge and a half.
It's proving trickier than it should be.
Tell me about it. And don't even get me started on some of the DIY solutions people are attempting.
Yeah, I've seen a few head scratchers in my time.
Let's just say I admire the creativity, but maybe not the electrical work. Anyway, you've been doing your research on some seriously heavy-duty gate locks.
Stuff I didn't even realize existed.
Me neither. It's amazing what's out there.
What I find really interesting about gate security is this constant balancing act between convenience and, well, basically having Fort Knox as your entrance.
Right, because you want a keyless entry, deliveries, the dog walk.
Exactly, but all those little conveniences add up to potential vulnerabilities if you're not careful.
And then there's the Australian climate to factor in, which is a whole other beast.
A lock that's perfectly happy on a sheltered front door might crumple into a pile of rust after a few months on an exposed gate.
No kidding. Okay, so we need something tough, something weatherproof, but also user-friendly.
Absolutely. That's why understanding things like corrosion resistance and build quality is essential.
Speaking of built to last, I noticed Mortise locks popping up a lot in your research.
Ah, yes.
Especially from a company called Lockwood.
Right.
Are those the gold standard for Aussie gates or what?
Lockwood's definitely a trusted name here in Australia, and for good reason. Their history goes back over 160 years. They actually started right here in Melbourne.
Wow, 160 years. That's some serious staying power.
You know, a company means business when they've weathered that many economic storms.
That's for sure. But back to those Mortise locks.
Right, so their 3782 model seems to be a popular choice for gates, and it's not hard to see why.
What makes it so special?
Versatility. You can have key overrides, double-sided key access if you need it, or even ditch the keys altogether and integrate a digital keypad.
Okay, so it's got options, but at the end of the day, it all boils down to security.
Absolutely.
Tell me, what makes the 3782 so darn tough?
Well, for starters, it's built like a tank. Seriously, the 3782 is heavy-duty, commercial-grade, designed to withstand a lot more than just a casual shoulder barge.
So we're talking serious security here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But here's where the real ingenuity comes in. The cylinders inside, the ones the key interacts with.
Yeah.
They're interchangeable. So as security standards evolve,
Oh.
or if you just decide you want the absolute top-tier protection available, you can swap those cylinders out without needing a whole new lock.
Okay, now that's thinking ahead. I like it. So we've got the robust construction, the future-proofed security.
Right.
There's got to be a catch, right?
Well, you know what they say, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Especially when it comes to keeping your property safe. So what's the trade-off with these Mortise locks?
The main one, especially with something as solidly built as the 3782, is installation.
Ah, here it comes.
This isn't your average weekend DIY project. We're talking chiseling, drilling, making sure everything aligns perfectly within the gate itself.
Sounds like a job for someone with a lot more patience and maybe a few more power tools than me.
It's definitely not for the faint of heart. Honestly, unless you're particularly handy, calling in a professional locksmith is probably a wise investment.
For the sake of the gate and your sanity.
Exactly.
So, to sum it up, Mortise locks, top-tier security, but they might come with a side of professional installation costs?
That's a good way to put it.
Which makes sense. But what about people who want something a little simpler, a little less, well, intense?
Sure.
You've also got some info on those D&D latches in your research.
Yeah, the LokkLatch and the MagnaLatch.
Yeah, are those just for basic gates, or can they handle a bit more muscle? D&D latches. They sound kind of friendly compared to those hardcore Mortise locks.
Right.
But I'm guessing they're not just for keeping the neighbor's dog out of your flower beds.
You'd be surprised. Those D&D latches are in a league of their own, really.
Oh, yeah.
They're purpose-built, you see, designed for very specific needs.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Take the LokkLatch, for example.
Okay.
Specifically the S3 model.
The one I was looking at.
That's the one. Designed for both wood and D metal gates.
So it can handle Aussie gates, no problem.
Exactly. Versatility is key.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But how secure are we talking here?
It's more than just a step up from a simple latch.
Oh, yeah.
The S3 has a special trick.
Ooh, I like tricks.
A lockable version with something called a wafer cylinder.
A wafer cylinder? What's that?
Think of it like a smaller, less complicated version of what you'd find in a Mortise lock.
Okay, so kind of a happy medium.
Exactly. It's perfect for people who want that extra security but aren't quite ready to tackle a full-blown Mortise lock installation.
Best of both worlds, maybe.
You got it. Now, the MagnaLatch, that's a whole other story.
MagnaLatch. That one sounds serious.
It is. That thing is all about one thing and one thing only. Reliable, heavy-duty self-latching.
So you're saying no more worrying if the gate's properly closed?
Precisely. It's practically foolproof.
Which is perfect for situations where an open gate could be disastrous, like around a pool.
Exactly. Pool gates, animal enclosures, anywhere you need that guaranteed closure.
Speaking of things that need to be foolproof, what about smart locks for gates? That technology seems to be lagging behind a bit.
It's a real head-scratcher, isn't it? We've got weatherproof cameras, outdoor sensors. You'd think smart locks would have caught up by now.
Right. So what's the deal? Are smart locks just not cut out for the tough Australian climate?
It's more complicated than that. You see, creating a truly smart lock that can survive and thrive in the great Aussie outdoors, that's a tall order.
What makes it so tricky? Yeah, it's a bit more than just slapping on a weatherproof sticker and calling it a day, isn't it?
You got that right.
It sounds like designing a smart lock that can truly handle Australian conditions. That's a whole other ballgame.
It's a real engineering challenge, that's for sure.
But the thing is, people clearly want this technology. I mean, I'm seeing DIY solutions popping up everywhere, folks trying to hack existing smart locks to make them tougher, more weather resistant.
I've seen a few of those myself, and I gotta say, some of them make me a little nervous.
Right. Maybe leave it to the professionals, folks. But you've hit on something important. This desire for a truly integrated, smart gate experience is out there. The market just hasn't quite caught up yet.
It really hasn't, which got me thinking. What if, instead of searching for that perfect standalone smart lock, we shift our perspective a bit?
Ooh, okay. I like where this is going. What kind of perspective shift are we talking about?
Instead of focusing on replacing your current gate lock with a so-called smart equivalent, think about the bigger picture.
Okay, I'm listening.
What if, instead of just being a lock, your gate became part of a larger, more intelligent security system?
Now we're talking. I'm already imagining motion sensors, maybe even some facial recognition.
Yeah.
Is a personalized voice greeting too much to ask for?
A talking gate. I love it. We might not be there just yet, but you're definitely onto something. Imagine getting an alert on your phone the second someone approaches your gate. You open the notification, and boom, live video feed.
Okay, now that's cool.
From there, you can choose. Unlock the gate remotely with a tap of your finger, super handy if it's a friend stopping by unexpectedly.
Right.
Or if something seems off, you can trigger an alarm, set off some security lights, really deter any unwanted guests.
That's what I call next level security. But are we talking about some far-off, futuristic fantasy here? Or are there systems that can actually do this right now?
You might be surprised to hear that we're already seeing the building blocks of this kind of technology in some high-end home security systems.
Oh.
Think about it. We've got cameras with built-in AI that can tell the difference between, say, a stray cat wandering by and someone actually trying to hop your fence.
Wow.
We've got motion sensors that don't just trigger an alarm, but also illuminate key areas to deter those unwanted visitors.
And all of that could, theoretically, be integrated with a gate.
Exactly. It wouldn't even necessarily need to be a smart lock in the traditional sense. It's more about using existing tech in a smarter way.
Okay, so instead of replacing the lock itself, you're talking about making the whole system smarter.
Precisely. Imagine your existing security camera, the one that's already keeping watch over your property, now pulls double duty as your gatekeeper.
I like it.
Recognizes your family members approaching, gives them seamless access, but still keeps you in the loop about any unusual activity.
Talk about peace of mind. But let's be real for a sec. Are these integrated systems actually viable in the Australian market right now?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
We've already established that our climate down here can be brutal on electronics.
It certainly can be a challenge.
And I'm guessing a rogue cockatoo setting off a false alarm every 5 minutes isn't exactly ideal.
Not ideal, no.
So how do we adapt this technology for the, shall we say, unique quirks of Australian weather and wildlife?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the good news is that this technology is evolving incredibly quickly. What seems cutting edge today might be standard in a year or two.
That's true. Technology moves fast. So what you're saying is, if you're thinking about smartening up your gate security, don't limit yourself to just the lock itself.
Exactly.
Think bigger picture. Think about the potential for integration for a system that's as adaptable and as resilient as, well, the Australian spirit.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
There you have it, folks. A deep dive into the world of gate security, from the tried and true toughness of a good old-fashioned Mortise lock to the mind-blowing possibilities of these integrated AI-powered systems we've been talking about. Whether you're a die-hard DIY enthusiast or you prefer to leave it to the professionals, there's a solution out there to fit your needs and give you that extra peace of mind. Just remember, when it comes to gate security, thinking outside the lockbox is never a bad idea. Until next time, stay curious and stay secure.